What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're doing a little bit more Regulation H team building, and Porygon 2 Balance is the archetype of today. So we've done quite a bit of team building, right? Thus far, we've done Arcaladin Rain, we've done the Sneasler Balance stuff. Now we're going into Porygon 2 Balance. There's a lot of archetypes in Regulation H that are viable. Remember, we put out that video of the 10 best ideal archetypes right now, and this is one of them. So Porygon 2 gets to come out and play again in this format because there's no more Urshifu, right? And of course the other big restricteds are gone, so that means less damage is on the board, which means lower power creep, which means Porygon 2 is like the god of heavens in this format because you're so bulky and it's hard to remove it. And really the big threat here is the Sneasler close combat, which you can easily EV to survive anyway. And you have Incineroar to help you do that too, right? So Fake Out and Trick Room is the ideal play. And then from there, you can get into your Trick Room Sweeper by going for either a U-turn or a parting shot, depending on what item you're running on the Incineroar. So the rest of the team involves something like this. You have the Amoonguss, and then usually this is something like the Ursaluna as your Trick Room Sweeper here. And this is the essence of the Porygon 2 Balance archetype. Now, when you play against other Porygon 2 Balance archetypes, you'll probably run into these other 4 mons, right? Because the core itself doesn't really change. The only thing that actually changes is the last slot or sometimes the last 2 slots here. But usually you'll find some variation of like this. And really the decision now comes to, do you want to add Tailwind on your team? Which a lot of variations do, but who is your Tailwind setter is the big difference maker, right? But right now, as it is, look, you've got 3 Pokemon here that don't like Sneasler, right? But you don't got all the 3 options weak to fighting. So you need something to help you in that regard. And usually this is where a Ghost type comes into play. This is also why Goldango is often always on these teams. I would say 9 times out of 10, you'll see a Goldango on the P2 Balance teams, right? So look at this. You've got the defensive backbone with Incineroar and Amoonguss, okay? And then from here, look, you've got Intimidate and Fake Out Pressure to help you set up the Trick Room. And then you have the pivot move in the, like I said, the U-turn and the parting shot to go into the Ursaluna once the Trick Room is set. And then you just go bonkers, right? You just sweep with this guy and the P2 does the occasional chip damage. And then Goldango here also can clean things up or even start things off for you by just going for these nasty plot plays and going for Make It Rain damage. And then Porygon can be your end game. Because once you've removed the major threats, now there's not enough damage on the board to be able to remove the Porygon, and then you're just sitting there clicking Recover and clicking Trick Room every other turn, or not Trick Room, but Recover, and then you're just dealing the occasional chip damage with Ice Beam. And usually this is Terra Blast in this format, and most commonly it is Terra Fighting, but of course there is the occasional other Terras. Sometimes you'll see Terra Ground, other times you'll also see Terra Flying, which has great synergy with Ursaluna, by the way, because you can Earthquake next to it. But again, you can resist the fighting weakness and then do super effective damage right back into the Sneasler by going for Terra Flying. Otherwise, fighting is also really nice because you get to do big damage to stuff like Arcaladin, stuff like King Gambit, right? Because otherwise, this kind of team kind of struggles against that, especially if it's like a Terra Dark King Gambit here, right? You really only have the Ursaluna to do big damage to it. But again, the speed tie situation gets a little bit more interesting. But if you have the super effective fighting damage, this is where something like the P2 Terra Blast, Terra Fighting comes into play. And the other strength that comes with Porygon is that not only are you relatively bulky with the Eviolite, but you're also going to be doing pretty decent damage, right? Because with Download, you can get a special attack boost, which means these are +1 Ice Beams, which is great into the dragons running around. Think about like the Scale Shot Dragonites, the Dragapults, okay? This is the Garchomps that are running around as well. Rillaboom also is another thing. So the Ice Beam is a great coverage move in this format. And then again, the +1 Terra Blasts are also really, really nice. Now, if you get the physical attack boost, you can also still take advantage with your physical Terra Blast. And I'll show you how to do that with an EV spread that has been going around since 2024. But I need to remind you guys of that because some of you have never even played in this type of format. Okay, so we'll get into the EV spreads when we do. But again, this is the core 5, right? So you got your special attack sweeper, you got your physical attack sweeper, and then you got these support options with the Porygon functioning as both support and, an offensive threat. This last slot here, it really just depends on what you want to do. This is either going to be, your Tailwind setter that can also deal decent damage, or you can go the non-Tailwind route and add something else in here, you know, and just really only rely on your Trick Room mode here. So I'm going to show you a lot of these variations, but if you add Tailwind, the EVs change a little bit, and if there's no Tailwind, then also the EVs change a little bit, even though you're running the same 5. So that makes a difference in the mirror matchup, of course, where you get to see which P2 is faster, which Ursaluna is faster, which Incin is faster. These are all interactions that you have to pay attention to when you do play the mirror matchup, okay? But you got your Sneasler answer here with Goldango. You've got your Trick Room mode here with the Ursaluna, Amoonguss, Incin, and P2. Now, what do you want to run in this last slot here? This is where we're going to show you different variations. All right, so for the 6th option here, the first variation I'm going to show you is actually Tyranitar. And I like Tyranitar here because, again, with the weather control, you have a little bit of an advantage against the Pelipper teams, as well as like the Torkoal stuff that want to come in when they think you're clicking Trick Room. Oh, I'm just going to click Eruption and melt everything. Well, if I have Tyranitar, you can't actually do that all that well because, again, I'm going to have an Assault Vest. I'm going to have the Sand. Your Eruption is going to do dirt damage. And then at the same time, I get my Dark typing, which is great into like the Psy Spam stuff. So I have some ideas here with T-Tar. And then at the same time, look, you're going to have Terra Flying here as well. So this is also pretty decent into the Sneasler because, again, this is like another weakness, you know, to fighting here. But T-Tar looks great on teams like this, man. And when you do go for Terra Flying, you have some pretty decent synergy with Ursaluna as well. So I like this. This is one idea here. So let's just build this one first here. So to round it out, I'm going to go with Goggles Incin, which again is great into Amoonguss that wants to come into games like this when they think they can click Spore when you click Trick Room. The Incin Goggles helps a lot here. I'm going to go Ghost here, but specifically, I'm also going to go a little bit more offensive here. So I'm going to go Flare Blitz and Knockoff, right? So I'm going to have 2 offensive moves this time. Usually we leave the Flare Blitz off and just go with, you know, like Fake Out, Knockoff, Parting Shot, and something else. Usually, you know, Will-O-Wisp or Taunt, for example. But in this case, I would like still a super effective fire type damage for something like another Goldango, another Amoonguss, another Rillaboom, maybe even bait out a Terra because of that. And because of we're going to do this, I'm going to go Adamant Instant, and we're going to make it relatively fast. And I'll tell you why in a second when we slap on EVs on this. But with Amoonguss, of course, we're going to have Regenerator here. And by the way, Amoonguss, we're going to go with Covert Cloak here, and I'll tell you why as well. I think Fairy is still like relatively solid here. You know, redirect the Scale Shots from Dragonite stuff away. Otherwise, you can definitely go Terra Water for Goldango resistance. For Rage Powder, Spore, of course, Pollen Puff, and Clear Smog. I gotta have something, you know, for my Dondozo matchup. And this is also really nice at removing stuff like Swords Dance and Scale Shots for that matter. Okay, so Clear Smog, great at removing debuffs. And you can even use this, by the way, on your own Ursaluna if they do Intimidate Cycle you. You get to wipe away those debuffs as well. And then the P2, this is going to be, this is already done. The Ursaluna, of course, same thing, Flame Orb here, Terra Ghost here, just to whiff the Fighting type attack going into your Ursaluna. Facade, of course, Headlong Rush and Earthquake, without a doubt. And then this is just Protect here. You know, Rillabooms might want to come into games like this just to reduce Ursaluna's Earthquake damage. But again, and also like to have super effective grass type attacks into Tyranitar. But this is why you have stuff like Flare Blitz, Incin, Ice Beam, P2, Terra Flying, Terra Blast, Tyranitar to help you against something like that. So if they do want to bring the Rillaboom, they're going to be in for it. The Goldango here, just be aggressive with your Life Orb. And then this, we can also make Terra Water. It's also pretty solid, right? In mirror matchups, make it rain, Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, and then Protect. And then Tyranitar, AV set, for, of course, Rock, Slide, Knock Off, your 2 stab moves, then Terra Blast, Terra Flying, and then Low Kick, you know, which again does really good damage into King Gambit, and also pretty good damage into the Arcaladon if, you know, you've done decent amount of chip damage into it, because it's not a base 120 move into it anymore, it's just 80. But again, Low Kick is still like a very, very good move overall. All right, so this is it. This is our first variation here. Now, we can start going into some EV spreads here. So this way, things are going to make sense. And, you know, again, a lot of this, you can definitely even like copy paste. If you want to run like the same 5 here, just switch out the Tyranitar, for example, And that's good, right? This is why Porygon 2 balance teams are one of the easier teams to build, because again, it's the same 5 core. You're just really interchanging that 6 slot over there. But I'm going to go with Adamant Instant. I'm going to go 36 here, right? This is going to hit the first bump in the attack stat here. And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're a pretty new Pokemon player, or you've been playing for a bit but you still don't know what EV bumps are, make sure you comment below asking what are EV bumps, because if you want to get better at your team building, you have to understand what these bumps are. It gives you good starting points for EV spreads when you're first trying to test out things for your games. So comment below asking what are EV bumps. I've also made videos on this. If you check in the video description below, we have a video titled, what are EV bumps and how to make them, where I go through a few examples of showcasing that. But if you don't know, comment below asking what are EV bumps and I will reply and respond to you. Okay, so with this P2 here, with this instant, I'm going to go Adamant 36 here. And I'm actually going to make it a relatively fast Incineroar. I'm going to go to about 204 here, okay? You can even go to, if anything, 212 here, 107, not bad either. If you have Tailwind, which I'm going to show you in a second, this will be able to outspeed Dragon Bolts on their Tailwind. We don't have Tailwind on this team, so that's fine. You can still go for, you can still go for like 106. This is still like okay. And then I'm going to go like max HP here. And then I just have a couple points left. I'm just going to put 1 point in defense and a little bit in Spadef here. And, I'm trying to outspeed like the modest Ursalunas, right? This is why we go to this kind of spread here, which is, again, fine. And you do need to outspeed that thing, right? You have to go for a knockoff, remove its life orb potentially, or even that assault vest set, right? And then from there you can just go for Make It Rain and just one-shot that thing. So I like fast instants. You also get faster fake outs, okay? Now in the Trick Room mode, you'll be the slower mode, but that's okay, right? I still like the parting shot to go last in the Trick Room mode too, right? Because again, that can get me a better board state at the end of the turn, potentially, which I do like sometimes. So I'm going to settle with this instant spread. I like fast instant, or sometimes you'll even see like Jolly max speed instants. Those are the crazy ones. So if you get outsped, assume they have either like max speed or, they're probably just Jolly. All right, for the Amoonguss here. So I'm going to go Calm Nature here because I want to have enough bulk to at least live the Expanding Force Entity here. So first of all, I'm going to go to 219 HP. This does two things. One, it puts me out of range of Final Gambit Annihilate. Two, this gives me the optimal number for Regenerator Recovery, right? Because a third of 219 is perfectly 73, right? Which is great. So I get 73 HP recovery when I pivot it out and pivot it back in. Now, if I go to 218 or 220, now all of a sudden, I'm getting decimal values if I do a third of those numbers, right? So 219 is the perfect number for this. Then I'm just going to go to the first bump here in Spadef, right? 121. This is all I need to survive the Expanding Force in DD. And now these 196 EVs, you can do whatever you want with it. Ideally, you just put 1 point in speed because you're a slow mushroom. You don't really need speed. You're not a turbo shroom, as we used to call it back in Sword and Shield after like Tailwinds and max airstreams. And then just dump the rest into physical defense. And that's really all you need out of your Amoonguss. Okay, the P2 here, I'm going to show you two variants of the build here. And, depending on which one you like, you can definitely go for. But I'm going to at least recommend you go to, regardless of the nature, 252 HP, right? And 28 defense. And this does a couple of things. One, first of all, 192 is an excellent number for P2, right? Because perfect recovery number, right? 50%. It's a whole number, which is great. And then at the same time, it's pretty good for Rillaboom Grassy Terrain recovery, right? It's a factor of 16. All right, and then this 28 defense, one, it's a nice even number, which is great for Eviolite. So when you multiply by 1.5, it's a nice solid whole number, not an odd number like this, because this with the Eviolite gives you a decimal, which rounds down. I'm not trying to round down my bulk. I want to round up. So 20, actually, you can't even round up. You just need a nice solid whole number. All right, so, but ultimately, this investment survives the close combat Sneasler, right? And that's great, without Intimidate. Okay, so I feel like no matter what you do with these 228 EVs, whether you're modest or quiet or whatever, at the very least have this spread to survive the close combat Sneasler. Now, of course, you can definitely go bold and change the calc a little bit, but that's your decision. But I feel like whatever you do with your P2, at least survive the Sneasler close combat first. All right, but we're going to be showing you the modest and the quiet variants. All right, I'll show you the quiet variant first. So with Quiet Nature, you can do this. You can invest about 92 HP here, okay, and then 1 point in the attack, and then these 132 EVs, they can go down here into your SPDF. And ironically, it comes out to 132 anyway. Now, why would you do something like this? So first of all, if you look at the special attack, the stat is 150, which is good, right? So if you get a download boost, it's a nice solid whole number. Now, if you look at your attack stat, okay, what if you get a physical download boost? All right, so if you get a physical download boost, now you can still deal solid damage with your Terra Blast, because your Terra Blast is going to be 1 point less than your special attack, right? Why do I say that? Look at your stat for your physical attack. It's 101. If you get a physical download boost, okay, 101 times 1.5, 151.5, which rounds down to 151, which is bigger than 150 by 1 point. So your Terra Blast becomes physical. So that means you get a physical +1 Terra Blast, which is great, right? Because now you can do solid damage either way, whether you have +1 physical or you just have +1 special, which means you have +1 ice beams. And it can come in handy because if things are running around with like Assault Vest, right, and you need to deal physical damage, you got your physical Terra Blast that can help you cope, right? So that's good. All right, and from here, you know, then you just dump the rest in SPDF, and again, it's a nice solid even number here. Nice, great. So the Quiet variant is good. Now, what if I want Modest? You can definitely go Modest here, right? But again, I'm still going to keep this investment of 252 HP and 28 defensive EVs, right? Now what I'm going to do, let me see if I can just make this a little bit bigger there so it's a little bit easier on the eyes there. Yeah, I can. But now, actually, no, that's a little bit too much. But now what I can do is I can make this a little bit less. I can put 1 point in the speed here, and that's okay. And I can go to Modest 36. Actually, I can make this a little bit more. I can go to 44 here. Again, get a nice even number there for my download boost here. And then I can just put these 48 EVs wherever I want. Okay, but if I want to invest more damage, right? So let's say let me take away these EVs for a second. Let's go to about this much here. 165, right? This is the bump here, okay? But if I get a +1 special attack boost, right, then it'll be an odd number because I'm sorry, a decimal, which rounds down because I'm at an odd number here. So let's push it to an even number here. Let's go to 204, and then after this, then we put the last remaining EVs into special defense here, all right? So now this Porygon is going to be doing quite a bit of damage, right? Because +1 ice beams with 166 attack in a lower power creep format, it's actually going to be doing a pretty decent amount of chip damage, okay? And you have the bulk for the Sneasler, which is great. And also with this SPDF, you can even live Life Orb, Blood Moon, Ursaluna, which is kind of nice when you think about it. I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe this is the same EV spread as what Marco Silva has on his Charizard Jumpluff Sun team. We'll take a look at that. It's been a while since I've seen that pace, but I think this is the same one. But anyway, so either way, I give you two of these ideas that you can do with P2. You could do the 2024 way from Scott Iwafuchi, right? Or you can do the Marco Silva way. I think this is the Marco spread, you know, from earlier this year. All right, Ursaluna here. This is an easy one. You can just go Brave Nature, 0 speed here. And I like to go 140 HP usually with my Ursalunas because 223 optimizes the Flame Orb chip that you'd be taking, undercuts the threshold by 1, which is all we need. Because again, if you do 223 divided by 16, you go to 13.9, not 14, right? It's opposite of what Rillaboom Grassy Terrain Recovery is or Leftovers. You want the 16n -1 rule. Yeah, a little bit of algebra, right? Pokemon's a math game. So 16n -1. So instead of 224, let's go to 223, right? And this is also pretty good. This will also optimize against Tyranitar Sand Chip damage if you ever have to Terra Ghost there. But we'll leave it like that. And then we can just literally max the attack like this and dump the rest here into SPDF. Keep it relatively easy. Goldengo here. Same thing. I can go Modest here. I don't need to go Timid. I'm trying to play in Trick Room here. I want the slower Goldengo if I can. Otherwise, but I still want to have some speed investment, right? So how fast do I want to go? I think this is okay. I think outspeeding Adamant Dragonite is still important, right? Or even the... yeah, no, this is definitely outspeeded because I think that thing caps off at 132 or something. And then we can just put 52 EVs, right? Optimize our HP for Life Orb chip, and then literally dump the rest into special attack like this. Let's go to 198 here. This is actually the bump here, which is nice. Very convenient because then I can just put 1 point in my bulk after that. And that's it. That's our easy Goldango spread. Then Tyranitar here. So we'll use the one that I've been using with the 6 at the bottom of our screen. That's the Secret Clover team. You only need 2 points in SpDef, right? You got the Sand, you got the AV. You don't need any more than this. Let's go about... I still like this. 198. You know, I know this is like the same set I use like under Tailwind, but again, it's still like pretty solid. Under Tailwind, this outspeeds Sneasler, but I still like having a little bit of a faster T-Tar, you know, just for the sake of, you know, going up against other Incineroars that might be also pretty fast. 96 is pretty good. So if it's the slow, bulky Incineroars, you'll be able to outspeed them without a doubt. All right, but that's it. So we got our first variant of P2 balance, right? Let me just check our natures and our abilities here. Regenerator, download, go to go. Yeah, all right, we're cooking here. So this is our first idea, and let's go ahead and show you a couple of test games with this. All right, so we got, there it is. We got the Indeedee Sneasler idea. So you know that Sneasler probably has some kind of Psychic Seeds there, which means no Sash. I would imagine it's on that Hisuian Electrode there. And why he's running that thing, I couldn't tell you. Maybe he's doing some like explosion shenanigans there. But I feel like you could have just put something like a Talonflame there, and then his team is just instantly better if he had that. But he chooses to run the Hisuian Electrode there. And then he's got Kingambit Amoonguss there. So ideally, Tyranitar looks great here, all right, as a 6-mon here. Because again, I can break Sashes here. I've got the Dark typing for the Expanding Force shenanigans. I have pressure against the Dragapult. And I have Terra Blast, Terra Flying against like half of his team here, which is nice. And then after this, you know, I just really have to, you know, position my Porygon and Incin carefully here, right? And I think even though he has a Gambit, I can still lead Incin P2 because either way, even if he's +2 Gambit, I can just blast it away with Terra Blast, Terrifying regardless there. So I don't mind giving him the Define boost because I'm going to outspeed him and kill him anyway. So Incin P2 is my play. He's going to go with Sneasler and Dragon Ball. This is excellent, right? Because we get to intimidate the Sneasler, less close combat damage, and I pressure into the Dragon Ball. He has to U-turn because he doesn't want to die. He goes into Amoonguss, which is fine by me. Goes for the CC. I live anyway, right? Because he's intimidated regardless. And I go for the knockoff, right? I remove the berry from the Amoonguss and I click Trick Room here. Now, the Amoonguss can click Spore here, which is why you want to bring in Goldango, but I didn't. And I was still okay with this because I'll trade a sleeping Porygon for an Amoonguss KO. And even though he kills the Incin here, I want him to kill the Incin because this is a free switch into my Ursaluna here, right? So I didn't mind him sleeping the P2 because I know he wants the Incin gone. But here we are. So he Terra targets the Kingambit, doesn't want to die for big damage here. I feel like I just go for Earthquake regardless because I know the Sneasler is not Sash and he's -1 defense because of the CC. So I was fine moving without the Guts boost, right? And I need to make that play anyway. Now Tyranitar just wins because I have Terra Flying here. I have low kick pressure into the Gambit if I have to use it, but this is an easy Earthquake. The Sand will win anyway, right? He gets off the Iron Head and he does flinch me, but again, it doesn't matter because not only do I have 1 turn of Trick Room left, I'm not even going to need it because the Sand Chip just beats these guys anyway there. So good value from T-Tar and good value for Trick Room. And even though I did take 1 sleep from the Amoonguss, it didn't matter because the trade that I made for that was still better in my favor. All right, so this person has a Gliscor. There's his Sneasler check. He's got Talonflame and friends, no Goldango. Very interesting there. So honestly, I think Tyranitar also looks really good here. You know, again, for Talonflame, for Incin, for Ninetales, and then everything else, I have a Porygon with an Ice Beam, which is great damage. So honestly, this is not a huge threat here. And I even have Ursaluna Trick Room mode here, which looks really, really good. So I'm going to go with Incin, and I'm going to go with P2, and he's going to go with Talonflame, which we intimidate already, and I'm going to go into the and he's going to go into Gliscor here, but I have P2. So +1 special attack, super effective Ice Beam. He expects it. He goes into Incin, right? And I try and this is probably the worst play I could have made. These things always run Cobra Cloak, Talonflame. I should have just knocked it off. Right, so good play from him. He goes into the Hydreigon here. I go Terra Fighting, and I Parting Shot the Hydreigon, which is good news for me, right? He's -1 now. I'm going to go into Ursaluna because I'm clicking Trick Room here. Imparting shots into the Talonflame. Actually, I went for the Terra Blast into the Instant. I remember now. Yeah, so good plays from him. He's playing much better. I didn't even go for Trick Room because, again, I was taunted. There's the Dual Wing Beat. He misses. Even if he hits that, I'm still fine because this guy's just going for Snarls here, trying to mitigate my P2 damage. And then there's Ice Beam doing dirt, right? Of course. But here we go. Facade, big damage into the Talonflame. So that goes down. And now he can go into Instant again for the -1 debuff onto my Ursaluna. But he can only fake out one target. That's the wrong target to fake out because, again, now the Ursaluna can just go for the Headlong Rush. Even if I'm -1, it doesn't matter. This is more than enough to take out the Instant here. And especially when he was chipped already. I would have just faked out the Ursaluna. The P2 is not doing any damage. I don't know what you were doing there. Even a Terra Blast, I don't think even KOs from because I was -1 there. So I'm going to repivot the Ursaluna for a better day. It goes for Earthquake. The Gliscor is doing a lot of damage here. All right, but it doesn't matter. The Instant lives. Oh my goodness, Instant is a champ here. Trick Room goes up. That's it. Ice Beam. Goodbye, Gliscor. Even though I'm -2, I don't even think the crit matters. It's 4 times super effective. Now we clean up with Tyranitar, right? He teared the Hydreigon into a Ghost type. Now you're sitting in front of a Dark type. Okay, the P2 never died. And now we just win from here. And he knows it too, so this is also why he clicks forfeit. Now, the second variation of this that doesn't have Tyranitar, but still a non-tailwind version, is you can have the Flamigo here. And Flamigo had a lot of success on a team like this. One, again, you are a flying type with Scrappy, so you don't care about Instant. You don't even care about Sneasler because, again, you are that flying type that can deal super effective damage right back. You have that dual wing beat pressure, so even if it is Sash, you can just beat it immediately. You can have your own Sash, right? Which is great. You have close combat, strong into Archeladons and King Gambits and whatnot. And you have synergy with Ursaluna because you can Earthquake next to it. And then, not only that, but you also have the Pandit Wide Guard if you need it, along with the tech. So this is great against stuff like, Goldango, Heat Waves, or, whatever spread move that's running around. Expanding Force, you can have Wide Guard for that too. It helps a lot. Okay. And, it's a Flamigo. Scrappy's really good. And then, honestly, you just go 252 on this. Just go Adamant. It's totally fine. Get your value into your damage. And then that's pretty much it. Everything else can stay the same, right? This is what I'm talking about. Like, everything can stay the same. All you're really doing is just switching out the T-Tar slot for a Flamigo slot. So you don't get Weather Control anymore, but you do get Wide Guard. Okay, you don't have the Dark typing anymore, but you do have Wide Guard for the Expanding Force shenanigans. And you still get the flying coverage. You don't have to burn your Terra for a flying type attack. And you get good coverage with close combat into the steel types that you really need to KO there. So let's show you a Flamigo game if we can. All right, we're going up against our own team here. And this is a team that we released onto the channel last year when we were first making stuff for regulationH. Right, so this is one of our main variants of Tyranitar Sand. Okay, and it's kind of funny how this person found it because he probably just went through VGC pace and picked it up there, which is kind of good. Otherwise, if you want to see the video of how we made this, just go back into the channel and I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But we made this team. We released this last year. It's public. So if you actually want the spreads or if you want the pace, comment below and I'll give it to you. But it's been a while since I've lost to my own team, but we're not about to lose it here. So Flamigo actually can do decent here because, again, we have close combat pressure into 2 things, and we have flying coverage into the Amoonguss. So there's a reason to bring Flamigo here. Otherwise, we also have Goldango, which can still do well here, especially, against the Primarina if he decides to bring it, even the Amoonguss, and also the Salamis. You can't outbulk +2 Nasty Plot with this. He does have a Tyranitar, but again, this is also why we like Instant into stuff like this. We can intimidate it. The Clear Amulet is on the Excadrill. I remember putting it on. Okay, and we can also intimidate the Salamence here. But I still like everything we've got. So Instant Flamigo definitely comes here. And we also have the P2 as well to give us the Trick Room coverage as long as we remove the Amoonguss. So he's going to go with Tyranitar Rotom. I don't think I've ever led that, but he led it. I would have just normally did Excadrill to Rotom and then just go into Tyranitar here, but goes into Goldango here. We can just set up the Nasty Plot. I can, resist the overheat if he does do it, and he did. Right? He tried to nuke it. So now the Rotom is -2, the Tyranitar is -1. We set up our Nasty Plot. We're chilling here. And now we can just go bonkers. He's forced to tear out the Tyranitar. He can't just die here. He lives, so good EVs there, right? You know, Terra Flying, you know, with the Assault Vest, great from him. Volt Switch doesn't kill because he was -2. It goes into Excadrill. I went for the Parting Shot into T-Tar there, so we do get the miss on the Goldango, but I get the flinch on the Instant, so it's unfortunate there. The Sand is chipping away here. Excadrill, I know, has the speed boost here. And I wanted to actually just kill the Goldango here, but he did not. He actually just protects. I thought that was an interesting play. You know, you have the speed advantage. You might as well just click Earthquake there. Maybe I didn't put it there, but I thought I did, but he didn't click Earthquake. So, yeah, and he just clicks Protect instead. But now, here we are. So +2, +1 P2 there. Stomping Tantrum removes the Instant, right? So it's fine. My mistake by not even going for Fake Out. I tried to get a little greedy there. I thought he would click Protect there. But he spores the P2. It's fine. The Amoonguss has taken a lot of chip here. Now we can go into Flamigo. And now he goes for Iron Head. This is also where I should have just clicked Detect here. So I'm not making like optimal plays here. Because I thought he might even go into the P2 there. But I could have easily detected there, burn a turn of sand. I thought he might switch, but anyway. So Iron Head there, that's fine. Flamigo just eliminates the Excadrill with close combat. This is why I brought it. All right, the Rotom can kill the Flamigo, which he does, but the P2 will win this 1v1 here, right? And that's the thing. So I just have to wake up here, which I do, right? And here we go. Trick Room is up. Now I can recover. And now he kind of loses because he can't break through. The Overheat is just not enough. The +1 Terra Blast is all I need over there. So good play from our opponent. I didn't quite play this optimally. And if my P2 stayed asleep a little bit longer, then who knows whatever would have happened. All right, this player here, Scribble. I actually know this guy. He's like 1700 in Regulation J ladder. No, I'm sorry, Regulation I ladder is like 1700. And then right now in Reg H, he's, I believe, 1600 plus. So he's a pretty good player. But interesting squad he's got there. I feel like it wants an Amoonguss or some kind of Sinisha idea here. Maybe not Sinisha, actually. Definitely some kind of Amoonguss. I feel like he just has a bunch of offensive threats and a Pelipper here. And sometimes maybe that might be a little bit too much here. But I don't think I need the Flamigo here. I think I can just manage with Instant P2 Ursaluna. Okay, so he goes for Basculegion, Archeladon. So that means Pelipper's definitely in the back somewhere. I wanted to go into Amoonguss just in case. Right, there's the Protect. Oh, it's actually Protect Arc in the Pelipper team, so it's not even like AV, right? So no Assault Vest there, which means I can do some pretty decent damage, right? It goes for Terra Electric. We're just gonna Spore that real quick, and he goes for the Blood Moon into the Amoonguss. We live, and there's no Life Orb chip, so that means he's probably AV, and yeah, that looks like AV for sure. So he goes for a Vacuum Wave, a little bit more chip. I'm just trying to Spore that Ursaluna, try and deal some chip damage into the Arc. Right, I could have probably just even clicked Ice Beam there, but I'm going to go into Ursaluna here, right, just to try and take more advantage of my Trick Room turns while I have a chance, and just take out the Arc right now. So that goes down, the Ursaluna is asleep. My Ursaluna now has one turn of Trick Room to make good use of this, and he goes into Basculegion, baiting my Facade potentially, and he does bait it, so good play by him. And we'll Ice Beam the Ursaluna here, but the Trick Room will expire. And now he'll have Pelipper, Basculegion in his endgame, but we still have an Instant for Intimidate support if we have to use it, right? But to heck with that, I'm just going to tear the Ghost here, right? And, you know, just in case if he did go for the Water attack, if he double tapped, then my P2 was definitely going to clean up here. But we just get the easy KO on the Pelipper. It's not even Sash there. I think that's a mistake. I think you got to always Sash your Pelipper and something like that. But Instant would have just helped us here. Now we definitely win, right? So he can only pick one target. He goes for the Instant. And the Ursaluna just kind of cleans up with the Headlong Rush over there. So we didn't need the Flamigo here. We had more than enough with the P2 stuff. Okay, now let's talk if you want to add Tailwind to the team. And I think Tailwind will make this mode even stronger depending on how you want to play. But you have a lot of options here. So first of all, if you do add the Tailwind, you're going to make some of these EV spreads a little bit different. We'll probably go Timid Goldango, and then at the same time, we'll invest speed into this Ursaluna, because Ursaluna under Tailwind will outspeed everything you need to outspeed. And then you're going to have some decent synergy with this 6 Mon here, because either way, you can Earthquake next to that Mon. All right. So one of the options you can do is Kilowattrel. Why? Because you have competitive boost here, and you are faster than Sneasler, which means you have a niche in the format, right? So if they want to bring instant Sneasler stuff, right? Because if you want to bring instant to intimidate the Ursaluna or pressure the Goldenga with knockoff stuff, the Kilowattrel will get a boost. And +2 Kilowattrel with max special attack here, 105 base. It's actually pretty dangerous, so be aware of that. And Kilowattrel helps here, so I like this a lot if you can manage it. So one bird over here. Then another option that you can do is something like a Dragonite instead. So now you add Dragonite with a flying typing here next to Ursaluna, which we did before. Remember when we did our Arc Rain squad, Dragonite was also on that team with Ursaluna and Archeladon. That also works too, where you can Earthquake next to this and go for like the scale shot stuff and whatnot. And then you also have access to Haze, which means you can afford to change the Amoonguss set, which means you can put Protect here, you can put a Berry or Mental Herb here. But the point is you can get Protect back because this will be your Haze check or your Dondozo buff remover, right? As opposed to Clear Smog Amoonguss. So you can definitely opt for that. Otherwise, you can also go for Vivillon here, which has also seen success on teams like this. Bug Flying typing is excellent, right? Because that's strong into Sneasler. Resist both of the stabs here. Not only do you get Tailwind pressure, but you also get Sleep Powder, okay, which is really, really nice because then you don't need the Amoonguss anymore. You can opt for something else, or you can keep the Amoonguss and still have the Sleep Powder pressure if you want. Otherwise, you can always have Rage Powder here, right, for more redirection support, but I don't think you need that if you have an Amoonguss, right? So to each their own, but you definitely have Tailwind here if you need to do it. Compound Eyes makes it so that, again, you have accuracy checks here, and then you also get Frangard if you really want to, but Vivillon has had pretty good success on these teams. Another thing you can do is, again, Yanmega, another Bug Flying typing, which, again, with Speed Boost, you just protect one turn, then you outspeed everything you want, right? Air Slash, Pressure, okay, along with Tailwind support is really, really nice. And, you know, depending on what you have, the Yanmega can pressure Rillabooms and Amoongusses too, so don't underestimate this thing. I remember when Wolf brought this, I think that was insane there. So 116 special attack is pretty nice. Otherwise, other options include something like, oh, I think Hydreigon. Oh yeah, the Hydreigon, right? So again, with Levitate, again, more synergy with Ursaluna. You can Earthquake next to it. You get another dragon on the team. Okay, but you also get another kind of damage mitigation move in Snarl here, right? So Tailwind, Snarl, and then you can have Protect here. This can have the safety goggles, get around Amoonguss, right? Which means you can have another item on the instant if you want. But this is definitely another set that you can do. And, you know, with Snarl and Intimidate, now the opponent just has reduced damage. This is great into Goldangle, by the way. So it's relatively useful here if you want to opt for that. So another dragon, right? So Hydreigon, Dragonite, we talked about Yanmega, Vivillon, and the Kilowattrel. Again, notice how the same 5 will stay consistent, is we're just changing up one of the slots here. But there are some other ideas that you can definitely do. Like, you can definitely put Sneasler on a team like this. We'll show you how that works, but we'll show you the Tailwind stuff first. All right, so let's just do the Kilowattrel first, right? So we'll do this. Obviously, this will have Tailwind support, and then this will have competitive, which is really useful here. Now, in terms of the rest of the team, how the EV spreads is. So here with the Ursaluna, this is the big one. We're going to go Adamant here. And we're going to have, how much investment do we want? I think we can go, oh, let me take away some EVs here. Let's reset here. Let's go 196. Let's actually go 204 here, right? And then when you have this, again, under Tailwind, this will be enough to outspeed the Jolly Sneasler, which is important there, in my opinion. Then you can just go to the benchmark here, 156, and then you just have 2 points there into the SPDEF and Defense Department, and this is your fast Ursaluna, right? Now, the Porygon here, we can make a little bit faster. We have the same damage calc here with defense. Let's actually just go down to 116 investment, right? So we're still going to deal a decent amount of damage, right? And if anything, you can even drop this a little bit further and just go back to 150 here. All right, and we're going to go, let's say, how about 76 investment? Yeah, so this is actually a much faster P2. And I'll tell you why, because under Tailwind, you'll be able to outspeed a Mousehold, right? 90 times 2 is 180, which is good, right? Because then you can just go for like the Terra Blast, Terra Fighting into that. And then you just have 40 EVs here. You can put this wherever you want. You can dump this here. But if you do, then you're going to be at 123 there. So better to take 1 point away here and go to 122. And then this last point, you can probably just put this into speed again and then just outspeed other things that want to outspeed another Maushold there. So this is actually pretty fast P2 when you think about it, but it's still fine, right? And now with this Amoonguss, you can probably keep this the way it is if you really want to change it. But honestly, I still need that Clear Smog check for stuff like Dondozo here. So I'm still going to keep the Covert Cloak here. If you want to put like a Citrus Berry here, you can definitely do that. I think also what can even be really cool is actually just slap on an Assault Vest on this Incineroar. So I'm going to show you another build here. So Flare Blitz, knock off Fake Out, and then this can be U-turn. All right, but we'll keep the same set more or less. I think what we can do now that we have Tailwind is we can... Oh, let me take away this. No, we'll keep it at 12 here. Yeah, 1 point here. So let's go to 212. So at least now under Tailwind, we'll outspeed a Dragon Bolt, potentially just getting off a knockoff. This Amoonguss, we can still keep it the same, I think, right? Yeah, I mean, you know, I wanted to put a Berry here, but this is still like, okay. You can definitely put a Berry here and put Protect here, but I think Clear Smog is still rather important. And we still have everything we have here with the Modest Nature. Yeah, this is still okay. What else do I want to do? I can also technically, if I want to go to the 116 bump here, yeah, let's do that. Let's do something like this. There we go. We got the 116 mark that we want, right? We still have the Sneasler calc that we have, and then this last point here, yeah, we can have. Oh, actually, better idea. Let's just do this, right there. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. So now we're okay. Now we've got the Ursulin that's fast. The Goldangle, let's make this timid. Right, so this way we'll have like the faster Goldangle ideally. And let's just go max speed here, right? We'll take 1 point here. Yeah, let's just go max speed Goldangle and then Kilowattrel. Alright, so like Tailwind, Air Slash, right? And then one Electric Bolt. Let's go Thunderbolt here. It's gonna hit hard, and then just Protect here. We'll do Focus Sash. Right, and then we'll also have Terra Ghost here. And then let's just go Timid Nature on this Kilowattrel, right? So something like this is okay. And here we are. So this will be like the 4th variant of P2 here, right? Or 3rd actually. But what we'll do now is we'll just actually do a couple of these. We can still keep everything else the same. The only thing that will change now is we'll adjust the last slot here. So instead of Kilowattrel, now what we can do is we can just put Yanmega here, right? Same thing, Focus Sash, right? And then same thing, Terra Ghost. And here we go, Tailwind, Air Slash, just like Kilowattrel. Bug Buzz, still pretty strong move here. Lower defense by 1, which is pretty good for Goldangle, by the way. And then Protect or Detect, whatever you want. Let's just go, we'll go Modest Nature here, right? We have a Sash, and yeah, we'll just do this. So here we go, another variant. I think we can definitely get away with something like this. And after that, what's another one? With the 5th one, we can have Dragonite. This is where we'll get the difference in the Amoonguss, right? So here we'll have Dragonite come on board here, and this will be loaded dice, obviously. And we'll go Terra Fairy. All right, so Scale Shot, Tailwind, Haze, Protect, right? Let's just go Adamant here. Keep it simple. Adamant, 252, 252, D-Knight. Still pretty strong. Our Goldangle will more than outspeed it. And now, because we have Haze here, we can go back here and just go for Protect. Whoa, that is, all right, Citrus Berry, sorry. Citrus Berry, right? And if any, we can even just go back to Safety Goggles here on the instant, right? We can go Parting Shot, right? And then just kind of go from there. And even the other one, we can go back to Safety Goggles instant. So we'll put that at the end, right? But here we go. So Rage Powder Sport, Palm Flop, we can Protect here. Same set. We're not changing anything about this. The P2 is still the same, and we have everything from the D9. All right. So we've got Scale Shot here on the D9 along with Haze support. We're back to Goggles Instant. This will put back to Goggles as well. in a second. And then, of course, this one, we can even stay AV. I think AV Instant on this team is actually really, really nice here. So we'll test out all three. We'll just show you one game each, and then we'll show you like a last couple of variants. All right, so this is like some kind of Sneasler balance team, but not really. I think he just made it worse by adding something like a Mimikyu here. And there's Blood Moon Ursaluna, right? So he's got the Sug combo. He's got Sneasler, Ursaluna, and Goldengo. He's got Garchomp and Rillaboom on the same team. You're just making your Earthquakes a little bit weaker. I don't know why he's got that. I think the Garchomp can just go and put something else there, but Kilowattrel looks good against a decent amount of his team here. All right, so he's going to go Rillaboom, Goldengo. Instant Kilowattrel looks really good against this, right? Because I can pressure both slots here. I intimidate the Rillaboom first. Goes into Ursaluna. Good play by him. All right, fake out into my Instant, actually. I just wanted to go Tailwind there. I didn't need to go for the Rillaboom just yet. Right, so now my Instant outspeeds everything here. Right, so he actually has Protect Rillaboom, which is kind of crazy, right? Usually you see AV on that. So if that's Protect Rillaboom, that tells me it's probably AV Ursaluna if you put it there, right? Because I didn't see Life Orb coming out here. But anyway, so Grassy Glide, he's forced to Terra the Rillaboom, interestingly enough, right? So Air Slash, a little bit of chip, right? Knock off and confirming it. Yep, there it is. There's the AV there. Hyper Voice does not kill. That's the problem with AV Ursaluna. You miss KOs as opposed to Life Orb. I'm going to preserve the Kilowattrel for later. I'm just going to go into Goldengo first. I probably should have just Flare Blitzed the Ursaluna from here. This was my mistake, right? So he goes for the Blood Moon. Doesn't kill because I have an AV, right? So I'm still like, okay, but I should have definitely just went for the kill on the Ursaluna. Goes into his own Goldengo, right? I'm just going to go Make It Rain. Ursaluna drops, right? I go -1, but this is fine. Could have even clicked Knockoff here, right? But he pivot out the Rillaboom, so instead I just wanted to U-turn and go into Ursaluna here. And now he's probably just going to bring in his Rillaboom, right? Weaken the Earthquake damage, of course, but this is fine. I'm just going to click Protect. Let me see who's the faster Goldengo. We actually speed tie, but he went for Nasty Plot. I stay in because I know even at -1, Life Orb Goldengo will still kill the other Goldengo. It's still a stab, super effective damage move, right? So this is fine. He goes into Mimikyu as his last one. We kind of just win here, right? Because I could intimidate now the Rillaboom and Mimikyu, trap them here. Ursaluna can Terra, no more Grass Weakness. That Play Rough does no damage, right? Wood Hammer does a lot, but without the Miracle Seed, he won't win. And now we can just headlong rush the Rillaboom. And, you know, even if he crit and beat the Ursaluna, we still have 3 other mons in the back, right? And that's pretty much it. He just forfeits. He can't do anything. The Mimikyu just dies to both of these. So yeah, the pressure created by Kilowattrel with the Tailwind was really, really good. We probably could have just clicked better attack moves, but our opponent played a little bit better. All right, now here he's got his own Tailwind mode. He's got his own Kilowattrel with Garchomp, Goldengo stuff, Instant Amoonguss Backbone. He's got a Gallade there. I don't know why, but he's got a Gallade. I feel like something else could be in there, but so normally I wouldn't lead Instant into games like this, just because I don't want to make the Kilowattrel strong. But I felt like it would have been fine anyway, just because I have a pretty good aggressive support option with it here. So that's what I did. And he did lead the Kilowattrel anyway, right? He's respecting my Intimidate. He actually lead Amoonguss, right? So P2 Instant was my play. I was going to just click Ice Beam and remove the Kilowattrel after Fake Out. But I messed this up here, right? He goes Terra Ghost Kilowattrel. So there goes my Fake Out. And, you know, he goes for the Air Slash here. He Spores me anyway, right? I was going for Trick Room. I didn't think it was going to matter like this. But I have Flare Blitz into the P2. But he goes into Gallade instead. Air Slash Instant does a lot of damage because he's +2. Flare Blitz Gallade. Okay, and now we do click the Trick Room here. Now, what was interesting to me, he goes into Amoonguss here, right? But I saw my P2 outspeed the Gallade. I'm surprised because usually Gallade should not run speed at all, but he did. So I thought I was gonna get clobbered there, but he didn't have. He's too fast. All right, so he's forced to protect on the Amoonguss here. Make it rain. He removes the Instant. Good play by him. He plays this very well. But his Goldengo is -1, right? And I have an Ursaluna here, and there's still 2 turns of Trick Room. He spores the Ursaluna. Listen, I didn't think he would do that. I thought, listen, usually we're supposed to protect here, okay? And then that Spore gets whiffed. Okay, but he actually spores the Ursaluna there. I was trying to make a read there, but it ends up paying off there. So I'm very surprised he actually did that. Because I could have just protected, wait for my Guts to get locked and loaded there, and would have been fine next turn. But now I'm asleep. So interesting play on that. But I'm still looking great here, right? Because look, I can just protect Goldengo here. And all I have to do is just wake up here, right? So just make it rain. Does a lot. That's too much damage. Right, and I do wake up, and now I just remove the Goldengo and the Kilowattrel there. But that was a little scary. He definitely played this better than me. I just get the benefit of having that short term of sleep, because now we just beat the Amoonguss here, right? Make it rain. He can spore the Ursaluna if he wants. He actually can't spore at all, because the Amoonguss can't spore a burn target, can't spore the Goldengo, so that's pretty much it there. So Ursaluna waking up was actually kind of clutch, but without a doubt, our opponent just played way better. Respect to this person, he was trying to make Palafin work on these balance teams. This is actually one of the first Reg H teams that was made back in like the early format of 2024. But this is before Sneasler came to be in the meta. So he's going to go for Instant. Farigiraf goes well with Blood Moon Ursaluna. I think Goldengo Instant is just also really good here, right? And I have Dragonite in the back, by the way. So I'm just going to go Terra Water. He fakes out my Instant, which is fine. This is a free nasty plot for me, honestly, right? So I get Flinch, it's okay. Clicks Trick Room, that favors me, by the way, right? Psychic Noise, that's fine, okay? Because now he clicks Knock Off, good play there, no more Life Orb. Parting Shot into the Instant, this is still okay. I'm gonna go into my Ursaluna, thank you for giving me Trick Room. Make it rain, so much damage, right? Farigiraf survives because, again, no more Life Orb. There's the Berry, but this is fine because now Ursaluna is locked and loaded here. I can just protect Goldengo, click Earthquake, right? And the Instant doesn't even pivot out. He could have even just did something, anything, but he went for the Goldengo anyway. So this is free Earthquake here. No Rillaboom as well. I was trying to bait that one out, but he didn't bring it. Now he just has Dragapult and the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Very interestingly enough, Earth Power comes out. I have to make him choose, right? And this is an easy one here. Facade, weaken the Ursaluna here. And Draco, interesting play from the Dragapult. It's actually special Pult, where Draco Meteor could have even picked the KO there. But again, I still have Dragonite in the back. And Instant Cannon just wins from here. The Dragapult is -2. All right, fake out Blood Moon, right? Doesn't matter. Headlong Rush into the Pult, just picks it up. All right, I lose the Ursaluna. Does not matter because I still have more than enough in the back. And he has no choice but to forfeit because it's a 2v1 at this point. All right, so here's a Vivillon variation, right, with Hurricane, Sleep Powder, and Tailwind. There is no Amoonguss on this idea here just because the Vivillon is your Amoonguss, more or less. It's also your Tailwind setter. And here you can afford to have the Sneasler here, right? So Close Combat, Direct Throat Trap. I think this is like the Wolf idea. But the White Herb is really good because, again, it's great against Anti-Intimidate support. It's good against Icy Wind stuff. And then you have Close Combat Pressure, right? So then you have Terra Dark for your and Throat Chop for the Side Spam matchup, which is really, really nice. And then we changed the P2 here to Terra Flying, right? So we can Earthquake next to it. And again, we can also Earthquake next to Vivillon because, again, it is a flying type here. But Terra Blast, Terra Flying, again, really good against stuff like, for example, the Rillabooms, right? Or Amoongusses, Volcaronas for that matter. You can blast away through that. Flying coverage is just really good this format. And then, of course, Sneasler is just Sneasler. You got your fighting coverage here. The only thing that you have to watch out for with something like this is, you know, your Dondozo stuff, because you don't have Clear Smog anymore. You don't have any more Haze. But you do have Sleep Powder. So there's that. So do with it what you will, but you also have like Life Orb, Goldengo stuff, with Shadow Ball. You can set it up that way and beat the Dozo that way with Shadow Ball stuff. So you have plays. And then this one right here, this 7th variant is Hydreigon here. Again, a dark type with Levitate, really, really good. Earthquake, you can Earthquake next to it, which is nice. So good synergy again with Ursaluna. Again, something that is like quote unquote flying that you can Earthquake next to with good solid coverage is what you're looking here in this 6th slot here. We've shown you Tyranitar, right? But Hydreigon with Levitate means you don't have to burn your Terra. And then again, like we said earlier, with the Snarl support is really, really nice with the instant stuff here. And we can go back to Covert Cloak Amoonguss with Clear Smog here. You can go Terra Fairy if you like, but Water's still like relatively solid here. But again, 7 variants that you can easily use here with Porygon to balance. But hopefully you see the common ideas that we're showing you with that 6th slot there. And we gave you options, so hopefully you use these. But let's put all the paste on the screen one more time. All right, so here we go. We'll start with the non-tailwind ideas. This was the Tyranitar variation. Again, Terra Flying with dark typing is really, really good. Dark coverage, and again, flying coverage is really good in this last slot here. The second variant has the Flamigo, same idea. Flying variation, okay, that has good synergy with Ursaluna that you can Earthquake next to. Then the Tailwind stuff here, with starting with Kilowattrel first. Now the EVs change a little bit. Now our Ursaluna is faster. Same thing with our Goldengo. Then we also have the Yanmega along with the Vivillon stuff here. Again, bug flying typing is really good typing here. And this one here with Dragonite with Haze means we can change the Amoonguss set a little bit. We can go Pollen Puff Spore with Protect, right? Because the Haze D-Knight helps us with the setup matchup, especially Dondozo stuff. And then this idea here with Vivillon with Sneasler here. So the Vivillon is your sleeping fast sleep powders, right? Along with Tailwind support. And then now you can have a Sneasler onto something like this, right? You still get a sub combo here with Sneasler, Ursaluna, and Goldengo, right? And then finally, this last variation is just with Hydreigon here with Goggles, which means I can put Berry on the Incin, and again, it's still like Adamant Fast Incineroar here, but Tailwind Snarl Draco Meteor is still like really, really nice. But to each their own, right? So I gave you 7 teams here, you know, with Porygon 2 balance. Like, are there other variations? Absolutely. Okay, I'm just showing you like easy stuff to use with the P2 balance stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you understand how P2 balance works. And yeah, if you still need help building your own team, if you're still going to Pittsburgh or some other region, if you need some adjustments and need some help building your team, make sure you sign up for coaching on the channel. The tier 3 sub will get you a one-on-one coaching session with me. You can find the link to join the channel in the video description below, as well as the pinned comment in the video. Every single video has that same link in the pinned comment section. So either you get it in the description or you get it in the pinned comment section. Then you can join the Discord for free. You can join that right now anyway, where we have over 1,200 members. So if you need people to spar with, we definitely have the resources and the people that you can practice against if you're looking to compete. But yeah, that's it. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.